Okay, the 9 of you that are currently viewing, I'm gonna try this. I don't know how this will work. You'll probably see a lot of shuffling, but I'll definitely be speaking with you, letting you know what's going on. In my car, plugged into the charger, I've already drove by the plaza, just to let them know that we seen, when I went offline, my battery died. I was speaking to a guy that was riding around on his bike. We were speaking about the presence here. So one full bus load came out of that back door. See if I don't know if I could point here. So right there, next to my finger, there's a door. To the right, it's kind of got blue lights. An entire busload of officers came out of that back door of the federal building. They loaded the bus and left down. They circled the block here on Main Street, went to Market, and came back around onto Mission and headed up Mission. I don't know where they're headed. I'm going to guess Dejaro. Last time they had busloads of officers, they came out of the Dejaro station. There was also some SUVs and vans and truckloads of barricades that were here on this street. Those are gone. The only police presence on this street, which is Main Street between Market and Mission, are three marked vehicles. So we also have noticed that the vans are no longer circling. So I'm going to be driving at this point. If I have to put the phone down, you'll just see some darkness, but I'll try to keep it up as long as I can. I'm going to be driving around the area and see if I can spot any kind of staging. Apparently before this initial raid on 101 Market today, this morning, initially apparently they were staging at 2 Embarcadero and 4 Embarcadero, which are buildings that are up the street. So I'm going to go by there and see if there's any presence going on over there, any activity of officers. I let the camp watch out on Embarcadero. I already let him know that the busload of officers did leave. And when we go up here to Market, we'll be able to see if there's still activity with the 20 or so officers and protesters in front of 101. So it's actually wrong. It looks like only the one officer car is out here on Market. Maybe one unmarked and one marked. The presence in front of 101 is still about the same. There's still about looks like 5 to 10 protesters and about 20 officers at the 101 building. So still not very much going on there. So here, the 2 buildings in front of me with the lights, those are the Embarcadero buildings if you're not familiar with San Francisco. This is 4 Embarcadero to the right, and the other buildings are numbered 3, 2, and 1. So apparently here at 4 Embarcadero there was some staging earlier this morning, as well as 2 Embarcadero. So I'm just going to circle these blocks and see if we see any vehicles or officers that look like they're about to do some stupid shit. I'm in need of some warm drink, coffee or tea or something. Throat is getting very sore. After I do this little circle, I'll probably pop up into the 7-Eleven and see if I can get something to drink. So, like I said, I'm just gonna go around the blocks here, see if we see anything going on, and probably after I circle the Market area here, the financial district, after I circle around here a good couple times, I'll probably go offline and I will probably drive over to the Dejaro area and see if there's still activity going on there. And if there's not, then I will probably head home. So those of you that returned to watch, this is just going to be a little tour of financial district. So I need to go up a couple blocks so that we can go back down a couple blocks. If you're not familiar with San Francisco, financial district is pretty much all one ways. So you got to kind of route yourself out where you need to be versus the streets that can get you there in the right direction. So we are now on Montgomery and Clay, and we are going to go back down Clay, take us back down to the Embarcadero Center, which are the, if you're not familiar again, San Francisco, the bright lights up ahead, the buildings that are lined in white lights, those are the Embarcadero buildings. Embarcadero Center. So there was some activity on the street we just passed, so I'm going to circle around here on Battery and see if we can go around the block. Yeah, so we have some unmarked vans here. I don't know the building that I'm at, but there's definitely a couple unmarked vans that I just passed. I'm not familiar with this building where we are right now. Let's see if I can see some. So we're at Sansom in Sacramento. There was some unmarked vans. There was only two unmarked vans near here. So I'm gonna have to cut back around the block to get back to where we were going. I thought that maybe I was on to something, but that wasn't the case. Sorry for the quietness. Don't really have much to speak about. I don't know why this guy just stayed at a flashing red for so long, but I'm gonna turn on KCBS to see if they have
involved with drugs. I skipped school because nobody cared. I was on drugs.
Something to listen to. So we're now at Sacramento and Kearney. I'm gonna go around the block and back down towards Embarcadero. Once again, if you're not familiar with SF, you gotta plan your streets out. And since I turned to check out that activity that I saw, I kind of ended up on the wrong path. So as far as I know, Punk Y and SF went home. I think he tweeted that out in case, I think I heard somebody was wondering where he was at. He tweeted out that he was going home. And I am only filming, once again, my Ustream is primarily for my own use. It does save to my Ustream page. It's gonna be my source of storing video at this moment. Prior to getting into the Ustream, I was YouTubing and uploading from my computer. My computer recently got stolen, so I don't have that resource, and my phone has not been cooperative at uploading YouTube directly, so I've had to resort to Ustream to film and save and have it be online quick, because if I'm filming YouTube videos and I can't get them uploaded the same day, it's not really anything special if I put them up a month later, which is probably when I'll have a computer. So We're currently on Davis and Sacramento. I'm at 2 Embarcadero. I can see up and down both ends of this block. I don't see any activity of any cops. So I've pretty thoroughly circled the Embarcadero Center and haven't seen. I've seen 2 unmarked vehicles, and that's it. I'm gonna circle back around to 3 Embarcadero. I think I seen 1 van, but I'm gonna confirm that before I state anything. So across the way from where I am at is the 101 Federal Building on Market. I see about 5 protesters, roughly, and once again probably 10-15 cops within their barricades. Once again, I still find it very amusing. They've trapped themselves within their own barricades. like they have to fear the protesters. So we're gonna go away from that area back over towards Embarcadero Center. So there's 1 SUV in front of the Hyatt, and we're gonna go up Sacramento again. So there's 4 Embarcadero and 3 Embarcadero to the left. 3 Embarcadero has one van, and it looks to be empty, just sitting there. And then the unmarked vehicles that I've seen will continue. So there's 2 Embarcadero. So we're at Front Street in Sacramento. This is 1 Embarcadero, and I'm gonna continue going straight. And see if we see those unmarked vehicles here in front of this building, which I still don't know what this building is. Maybe 1 unmarked vehicle there. So that's pretty much it as far as what I can see. There's definitely no signs in this immediate area. There's no signs of any staged officers. I'm gonna go back towards the plaza and let that lookout on Embarcadero know what I've seen over here, to let him know that there is no officers in this area that I can see. And then I will probably drive up to the Dajaro station, which isn't too far from here. It'll probably take me 5 to 10 minutes to get over there. And if there's no activity there, then I'm probably going to go ahead and drive on home, get some rest. Should have gone straight. Hope you've enjoyed this little tour if you're not from the city.
Elements of both. I mean, Hoover was a 3-dimensional person. He was a real-life person. As a young man, soaked in the atmosphere around him. At that time, the country was behind the news. They were in outgrowth of the nationalism of World War I, and Hoover drank that in. To him, that was normal. He became leader of them, and once he took that kind of active role in the raid, he was the one who had to defend them when they were criticized.
I'm seeing the chat window. So I'm pretty new to Ustream. I'm not really familiar with the features and such. But I see it's Wanda posting up what I'm speaking. It's pretty cool. It's like a transcription of what I'm saying. That's pretty awesome. So like I said, I'm just getting familiar with Ustream, using it for my own documentation because it saves directly to my page. But I'm glad that some people have taken interest to view. Not going to try to take over for Punk Boy. I'm not going to try to take over for Oprah Show. Those guys are doing a great job. They have a lot more knowledge of the Occupy camps that they film at. They have relationships established with the campers. I personally have simply taken an interest in observing, documenting, and posting what I've seen. I don't try to throw my opinion. I do support Occupy. However, there's some things that I do and do not agree with. That's why I, continue to observe and continue to try to form my opinion of the movement and of the actions of the movement. Regardless, the way I feel about Occupy is that regardless if you agree or disagree, this movement is history. Our children and grandchildren will be learning about this in their education, and I feel a responsibility for myself, a self-responsibility and a self-accountability to be informed as much as possible with my own eyes of what's going on. So any free time I have when I'm feeling healthy enough, because a lot of stuff's going on at night and it's getting colder and it's getting more damp. So as long as I'm healthy to do so, I try to get out to the camps to observe activity, and I'll continue to do that as long as my free time permits. I'm not sure, but I think I have a cop following me in an unmarked car, so I'm dropping the phone down, and I'm going to park out here, see if I see the lookout is gone. I don't see the lookout. Definitely think there's an unmarked cop following me, though. Yeah, definitely. So the white car just passing was an unmarked vehicle, and I had my phone up pretty much the whole time. I'm trying to see if I see the guy that was on lookout here on the Embarcadero end. Trying to locate him, so you'll see my stereo. I apologize for that. I'm actually gonna have to put the phone down here for just a moment. I don't see anybody on lookout on this end of Embarcadero, so they may have already received information they needed to decide not to have somebody out here. So they definitely still have vehicles, obviously, that are circling. Like I said, I just got followed into this area by an unmarked. Had my phone up, and he pulled over to the side of the street right behind me. Go ahead and put the phone back up. He's gone now. Don't need to get a phone ticket. That would not be a good thing tonight. I have my observations charging me now. So we're back here on Mission, and I'm going to circle around to the plaza and see if I spot anyone interested in the information that I can give them regarding the lack of presence in the area. Hey, you guys had a lookout on the Embarcadero side. He's gone. I don't see him anymore, but I was letting him know. I circled all around Embarcadero Center. There's no cop presence whatsoever where they were staging before.
No police. Our question is, vehicle, would you be willing to stake out Treasure Island as well as AT&T Park as well as Transbay Terminal?
Okay, Transbay Terminal, that's right up the street, right?
Transbay is right up the street, AT&T Park, and Treasure Island.
Okay, I was going to go to Daharo as well because I know they staged there one time. So I'll hit all that.
That's where they were that one night.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was going to head there because I'm actually from the East Bay, so I need to go that direction.
Oh, give her your number so she can relay
I can relay any
so
information.
I can let everyone know.
I'm on Twitter. I don't know if you guys are following Twitter at all.
Okay.
But I've been updating everything there. But if you want to give me your number, I'll let you guys know. I don't have a problem with that.
Also,
925.
Okay, let me write it down. I'm also Ustreaming, so.
Yeah, I was until my battery died.
Guy who described me completely over the phone to somebody over the phone. This gentleman in the corner there.
He's a security for this building.
Oh,
I've
well,
spoken with him a couple times.
he thinks, I told him I'm not scoping out the place. I'm looking for my friends.
Yeah. No, I talked to him earlier. We were asking him if he had any knowledge of any raid. I would think he's being put out here by his company. They'd tell him what's going on.
We
but
thought that the staging area was in the Hotel Vital where all the people would gather in like a luncheon buffet area.
they were staging in the federal building in the back. They were going in a back
As well
door.
as Embarcadero.
Yeah, they
and
were
over
staged,
at
yeah.
This, and at this hotel. We
But
saw them.
so there was a bus load that left the federal building
Went
about
up Mission.
about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, we saw it.
And
don't think
then
they're gone.
and then Embarcadero Center is clean. There's maybe one van.
Bus. You need to get off of this road.
Yeah.
This is,
Also, you got the message.
Yeah. Let me get his number. Let me move out of the way. I gotta pull up further.
Green Cab is part of the message alert system as well now.
Okay.
They're gonna help us get shit out of here if a raid happens.
He's telling us. Let me move more.
Oh, you'll be alright. We can get around.
be safe.
Did you want to leave the number then?
925. You know what? My brain just went far.
Oh, do you have any of my business cards?
What's my number?
I was gonna give her one of my cards to keep her in touch with us. Those are the wrong ones.
I'm not out in SF very often.
We're out in the East Bay, so we're not either.
Yeah.
Where at?
I'm actually in Rodeo, but I spent a lot of
no
time.
shit.
I spent a lot of time in Oakland recently. I was down there tonight when they were doing the fence construction.
We're actually from Brentwood, which is on the other side of Antioch.
Yeah.
But I'm a film producer,
Okay.
and I also do business cards and marketing if you need the printing work done.
Cool. I was just out in San Francisco tonight when they talked about this, so I came down.
521
521
4603.
4603. Okay. So after I check out all those spots, I'll give you guys a call.
Yeah,
Thanks
just
a lot.
Either call or text.
Yeah, it'll be a 626 number,
Okay.
and my name's Kimber.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Well,
Thank you.
Kimber.
Kimberly, thanks again.
Oh, no problem. You guys
luck
have a
to you.
safe night.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what were you saying about this taxi?
They're gonna help get people out of here. Like they're offering their vehicles for tents and people to get out in the event of a raid. They're gonna line up along Embarcadero and at the ferry plaza.
Get some pay to get out.
Very awesome.
Yeah, they're gonna
It's gonna
need
be
pay,
discounted.
Yeah,
but they're giving discount.
very awesome. And I'm Ustreaming, so the information's out there now on that.
Sweet.
So yeah, I'm gonna check those spots and give him a call. And so hopefully you guys have a safe, quiet night.
All right, yeah, hopefully, but
I'm thinking so. I mean, there's really not any presence nearby.
that doesn't mean
I
like
mean,
Treasure Island, etc. for the
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
Well,
ones,
I'm
yeah.
gonna check all that, but I mean, in this area, there's nothing. I checked Embarcadero. I've checked about 2 miles radius around here.
Okay,
It's
thank
clear.
you. That's fine,
There's
thank you.
only
What's your name?
Kimber.
Delta.
Delta. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
Hopefully you have a good night.
You as well.
Okay.
And keep us, just please check those areas.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him know. I'm gonna hit Deharo, and then you said AT&T, Transbay, and Treasure Island.
And Treasure Island, let us know, and I'll get the word out to Phil, Direct Action, Pirate Mike, etc.
All right. So what I'll probably do, Mike, I'll probably text you after each spot.
That's fine.
I'll
That's
just be like,
perfect.
you know,
Minute
Deharo
updates.
clear. You
Yeah,
know.
if it's clear, don't text unless you see anything worth texting. That would be the best, and then do a roundup at the very
All
end.
right.
Point 1 clear, point 2.
I just had an unmarked following me too. I was like, my phone's all up because I'm streaming while I'm driving.
Yeah, I kind of keep it low a little bit if you see a cop.
Yeah, he was unmarked. He followed me right around this corner actually.
Gnarly.
Whatever. He left. He's got better things to worry about.
Okay, be safe,
All right. Good night, guys.
Be safe.
No problem. You too.
Take care of our people that we're working with.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and check out these areas that in the past these areas have been used for staging of officers. I'm keeping my phone low. I'm driving past the 101 building right now, and there's officers here. I do not need a ticket over Ustream, but I'll talk. So Deharo is where there is a police substation, and so as I'm rolling by 101Market, we've got 3 protesters on the ground and about 5 protesters on foot. Oh, this is still a red light. I'm not paying attention to my driving here. So we have still about 5 to 10 protesters here in front of 101, and I'm losing my train of thought. I just noticed some of the messages here. I might pull over and read the screen and see what you guys are telling me. So here in front of 101, there's still the same status. There's about 5 to 10 protesters, maybe 5 to 10 cops. There's still a few vehicles in the area that are circling, just a couple SUVs and a couple cars. The loaded vans haven't been seen. Everything else, all the streets in this area seem pretty clear. So I'm going to pull over here for just a minute and check up. So I'm reading the screen here. So 17th and Dejero is clear. Thank you, Wanda, for that. Or it's Wanda. So I don't need to go the opposite direction to get to Dejero. So Dejero is a substation for SFPD, anybody that's listening. So in the past, they have staged there. The day that they had their huge quote-unquote training, they had officers drive personal vehicles to that location, and they loaded the 4 muni buses and took them to Treasure Island for a couple hours, and then returned back to Dejero after everybody was on alert, just to send them home. And they called it a training exercise. So that's why Dejero is usually a spot that is checked. I've read on previous tweets. I also saw the activity at Dejero myself that night, so it was pretty obvious that is an area that they use for, large staging. So I'll go ahead and go by the AT&T Park, and I'm going to check the Transbay Terminal right now. I was by here earlier when I was following the van, and I didn't see activity at that time, so I'm pretty sure it's still quiet. I actually drove by here when I came down to the area, and so yeah, I don't see any activity at the Transbay. Transbay is clear, so we'll circle around over to AT&T Park and then jump on the freeway and head over to
What's happening and why? KCBS AM and HD, KFRC FM and HD1, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose.
Sorry. Okay, so we're gonna head over to AT&T Park and then head over to Treasure Island. If anybody happens to know on Treasure Island anywhere specifically that I need to look, Treasure Island's pretty large. There's several empty lots there. I could just kind of drive around the island and look. But if anybody's aware of a specific area on the island that I should check, if you could please tweet me, message me, or post it on the Ustream screen. That way I have an idea. Treasure Island is on my way home. So, if anybody wants to throw this tweet out, there is a taxi cab company that is part of the Bay Action Alert system. This information came from the gentleman I was speaking to at the plaza. It's Green Cab, and apparently they're offering discounted cab rides to protesters from the camp in case of a raid or emergency. The phone number is 626-GREEN. So once again, the number is 626-GREEN. It's the Green Cab Company, and I guess they have spoken to people at the Occupy camp in San Francisco and told them that if cab service is needed in the event of a raid or emergency to vacate the area quick, they're offering a discounted service for Occupy. Don't quote me, don't, that's not a fact that I'm aware of. It's just based off what somebody told me. And I'm not trying to promote any specific business or anything. I'm just putting the word out. If it's accurate, it would be a great resource for people to have. I really try very hard not to quote things that I can't validate myself. So I am Trouble. You're saying that's your cab company. So if you want to, tweet that out, do it. Like I said, I didn't hear the information myself, so I'm just repeating what was told to me. I received a business card. So I'm headed over to AT&T Park now. I'm on the Embarcadero, and we'll see if there's any staging going on there. At AT&T Park, there's a lot of large parking lots, similar to what they did in Oakland last week. They used the parking lots of the Coliseum to stage out their vehicles and their officers and held a pre-raid meeting there.
But they raise more questions than they answer. That's why American Bullion has created a comprehensive free gold guide packed with unbiased information about gold as an investment. Get the facts before you buy. Call American Bullion now for your free copy of the gold guide at 800-716-6878. That's 800-716-6878. Are you tired?
So it looks like they should hopefully have a quiet evening. Dropping my phone down, I think I've got another unmarked behind me. So enjoy the darkness. Sorry about that. I just do not need a ticket here. Driving my vehicle, checking on these locations. Once again, I'm filming for my own documentation. I do see I have 17 viewers, so I don't want to just drop the broadcast on you guys. Apparently you're interested, so I cannot tell if this vehicle is an unmarked vehicle or not. So
KCBS News Time 4:04. 6 people were arrested and a dozen tents dismantled as San Francisco police kept the promise to tear down Occupy SF in front of the Federal Reserve Bank. KCBS's Bob Melrose tells us in this live report. The main
this is
campsite at
KCBS
Justin
Radio. I
Herman
usually
Plaza
keep this on in my
is still
car.
there. Well, the Federal Reserve Bank people had been told earlier, a few days ago, given a final notice that they would be evicted if they didn't move. They didn't, so at about 1 o'clock this morning, police came in, tore down about a dozen tents, and arrested 6 people for interference. This man, identified as Johnny T., said he had a tent here. He went across the street to get a sandwich, and by the time he came back, the operation had already begun.
I was in a tent where I had all of my, everything I own, basically, all my clothes, my sleeping gear, my medications for my epilepsy, my medications for some other things, all my books, I'm going through divorce, all my legal papers, everything that I had, basically, that I owned. And they have taken it, they said you can get it later, but basically they took it and threw it on what looks like a dump truck, kind of, and then they hauled it off.
And they've, usually the DPW, which was here with the police department, will find a way to get this back to the people who had it confiscated. Oftentimes they show it back at another campsite again. So at any rate, the police did finally tear down this Federal Reserve Bank encampment that's been here actually since the beginning of Occupy SF, which was many weeks ago. Reporting live in San Francisco, Bob Melrose, KCBS. KCBS News Time, 4:06.
When my heart disease was diagnosed, it was comforting to know that Seton Medical Center's cardiology experts were with me, from treatment through recovery.
Okay, so it was not an unmarked vehicle behind me, and I turned the radio up because I was interested in the article they were reporting on. It was regarding the raid tonight on the 101 building. I am at the AT&T Park now, so I'm just checking out these parking lots here that are quite large and spread out, see if I see anything. So according to KCBS Radio, that I was just listening to, this was an unannounced clearing of tents tonight. The interviewed gentleman that was speaking on that broadcast just now said that when he left to go across the street and get a sandwich, and when he returned, his tent and all his belongings, personal paperwork, medication, and everything was gone. So he reported on that radio broadcast that there was no alert prior to the removal of those tents tonight, which, I mean, I understand that, you know, they're not supposed to be occupying. We all know that by now. But you would think they would have to receive notice that their things are going to be removed. So, putting the phone down again because I am approaching some vehicles here. Right here at McCovey Cove, there's 2 officers, 2 vehicles. They're just conversating. Looks very quiet though. I don't see any other unmarked or large vans or anything like that. Just 2 cops sitting near McCovey Cove having a conversation. So I don't see any other activity here near AT&T Park. I'm gonna check 2 more lots that are across 3rd Street on the other side and see if those are clear or not. If they're clear, then I will jump on the bridge and head to Treasure Island. I will probably stop broadcasting for that ride, and if I find officers there, I may come back online. If I do not find officers there, then I'm going to call it a night. I'm very tempted and curious to drive by Occupy Oakland tonight, just out of curiosity to see how their party resulted today. I was there earlier when they took the fence down and started putting up tents. I left around 7:30 to come over to the city and get some food and hang out a little bit. And the end of my evening, when I was ready to head home, checked my tweets and saw that Occupy San Francisco was being raided. Of course, the tweets sounded much more serious. I thought the entire encampment was coming down, and when I arrived and found it was only the 101 building and they had only removed the 12 tents, it's still, you know, a big deal, but it wasn't at all what I expected to be walking into. So I'm glad for the encampment that it was only 12 tents and not an entire block. But so AT&T Park is clear, unless there's an area that I'm not seeing. I've checked 4 large parking lots and I do not see any police activity at AT&T Park. So I will find my way to the bridge and head over to Treasure Island.
Do you think you can gauge the health of the movement based on a day like today? Yeah, I think this is a big day as far as the movement goes. I think it's a referendum on whether the movement's going to grow stronger or peter out. Despite government restrictions prohibiting tents and sleeping bags in the park,
So KCBS radio again, I'm just going to turn it up.
Protesters are running the risk of alienating those they most need to support them.
That from CBS's Jim Axelrod on Thursday. There have been evictions of Occupy protesters in other cities. Police in Portland, Oregon used pepper spray. The protesters often changed locations and still vowed to demonstrate their displeasure with the unfairness of the U.S. economy. In downtown Los Angeles, CBS's Steve Futterman saw protesters in Bank of America Plaza.
The police are beginning to remove the tents. That's their first action. Around a dozen tents were set up in this grassy area being removed. by the police, one by one, each tent being folded up, taken away, and then the arrests will commence.
73 were cuffed and taken away, but CBS's Bill Whitaker reported a lot of support in Los Angeles for these protesters.
With cities across the country saying occupiers have overstayed their welcome, LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa still has the welcome mat out for now.
I'm very proud of the fact that here in Los Angeles, we stand for the First Amendment.
Even some occupiers seem unclear exactly what they stand for.
Why are you out here?
I don't know.
We're here because we feel that the system doesn't work anymore.
Prepare for a long zigzag struggle.
Tom Hayden, whose activism in the 1960s thrust him into politics, says occupiers might lose their encampments, but even without a focused message, they're gaining ground in the political debate. Many Americans share their frustration.
It's created real change in the climate of discussion in America towards jobs and Wall Street.
The 400 richest Americans now own more of America than the bottom 150 million Americans.
Former Clinton administration labor secretary Robert Reich told campus protesters they've caught America's attention. Now comes the hard part, turning protest into policy.
There's really only one way to turn a grassroots movement into a political movement. And we saw that with regard to the civil rights movement and the anti-Vietnam movement. And that is through political organizing. It's much harder to go from moral outrage to real practical change. But I expect that this movement will be coalescing.
Robert Reich, a Democrat, a former labor secretary, he spoke at UC Berkeley, where he's a professor. Now, here in Washington, D.C., will the American people be disappointed again by Congress? The super committee, 6 senators, 6 House members, split evenly. Democrats and Republicans faced a deadline this coming Wednesday to cut federal deficits for the coming years. CBS News correspondent Nancy Cordes reported this past Thursday night.
Failure to reach a compromise will trigger what's called sequestration, 10% spending cuts to all government programs, except for entitlements such as Medicare and Social Security. The cuts to defense alone would total $450 billion over 10 years. But those cuts would not go into effect until January 2013, giving Congress 13 months to find a way to undo them. And that's just what some members, like Senator John McCain, are proposing.
It would really decimate our ability to defend our national security interests, so it's unacceptable.
So you think that it should be rolled back entirely?
Yes, we are already making this year $20 billion in cuts. Over the next 10 years, an additional $460 billion in cuts.
But Supercommittee member Chris Van Hollen, a Democrat from Maryland, says eliminating the threat of sequestration puts debt reduction efforts back at square one.
I think people who are talking about undoing the trigger are not serious about deficit reduction.
If the Supercommittee can't reach a deal, there is going to be a fierce battle here on Capitol Hill over whether to kill those automatic spending cuts.
CBS's Nancy Cordes, who adds that members of the committee kept talking behind closed doors, saying this was very difficult, but there were ideas being traded back and forth. Up next, the child abuse scandal at Penn State. Later, we speak with Newt Gingrich, and David Letterman questions Herman Cain.
Stay with us on the CBS News Weekend Roundup.
Take CBS.
Okay, so I'm approaching Treasure Island. I may lose signal. Possibility, I always lose signal entering the island until I actually get off the freeway. So if that happens, I'll come back online. I don't know where on the island I'm supposed to be looking for a stage out. If anybody knows, is familiar with the SFPD stages, where on the island that they actually stage, it would be helpful to know. Otherwise, I'm just going to be driving around this island looking at all the empty lots. There's several of them. Let's see if I can get a view here of San Francisco as I drive in. If anybody's viewing that is not from this area, Treasure Island is pretty popular for the viewpoint of the city. So I see like two, let me see what's over here. I see a couple cars. I don't know if it's anything to be really worried about. I don't want to look obvious, so I'm going back down with the phone. So far on the island, I see one car. It's an empty car. I don't think that's anything to be alarmed of. This is only the first driveway of many. So the viewpoint I'm giving you is of San Francisco, across the water from the island. If you're not familiar, I mean, if you're watching and you know the city, then I'm telling you stuff you already know. But I don't know where my viewers are from.
CBS News chief investigative correspondent Armin Katayan from Penn State Wednesday reported that Sandusky may be accused of abusing at least 18 boys. We're hearing that from attorney representative.
So I'm just gonna circle the island. I don't know if there's any specific area that I need to look. So far on the main stretch of the entrance road, I see no activity.
Top officials failing to act to protect the kids, rather choosing to protect their reputation. Anderson is now working with several men he says survived severe sexual abuse, molestation, and rape by former Penn State coach Jerry Sandusky. The emotions of the survivors and their families right now are really re-traumatization. It's a mixture of despair, confusion, and fury. A key witness against Sandusky is assistant football coach Mike McQuarrie. Now there are conflicting stories of exactly what McQuarrie did after he says he witnessed Sandusky rape a boy in 2002. McQuarrie has declined to discuss the case in public.
I just entered a one-way. But this late at night, I don't think it's gonna make a big difference.
Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says it's been contacted by several people who said they have new information about Wood's death. This the subject this weekend, the CBS News broadcast.
So I've pretty much cut straight down one side of the island and kind of cutting through the center. You can kind of see in both directions, and I'm not really seeing anything. Again, I don't know where on the island they would stage. There's several large lots here. I may have to give that guy a call and ask him where I should be checking. But I'm doing a pretty good circle around and through the center, and I don't really see anything here. So once again, if you're not familiar with the city and the area, straight ahead of us is the Oakland Bay Bridge that connects us off to Oakland, and the large tower in the center is the new bridge that's being built. It's going to be a new suspension bridge, just so you know what you're looking at. So I'm gonna say what I can see is the area of the island I have driven has no signs of any police activity. And I've driven a pretty large chunk. Everything is very quiet, very dark, and very empty, just like Treasure Island usually is at night. So I'm going to be going offline. The 9 viewers that are still watching, thank you. I appreciate your interest in following my stream. I don't know how frequent I will be streaming, but if I stream, I will post. And usually I will be streaming from Oakland majority of the time. Every once in a while I will stream from concerts. And like I said before, it's mainly for my own documentation because it does upload straight to my Ustream page. Until I get a computer, that's my only way of getting things online quick. So I'm going to have to make this phone call and update Occupy SF about the areas that are clear. And head over to Occupy Oakland. If there's anything awesome going on over there, I might jump back on here. So I guess follow my Twitter, and thank you for following, and stay safe.